Hi, I'm Samantha Leal, and I'm the senior editor for Latina Magazine, and I'm here to present the esteemed panel of lifestyle experts and bloggers to talk about best practices, success stories, and much more. So I'd love to get started and have each member of the panel introduce themselves and give a quick kind of synopsis. We'll start.
Do you want to go ahead and start? Good morning, everyone. My name is Manuel Solis. I work for Transitions Optical, leading manufacturer in photochromic technology. My role with the company is multicultural marketing manager, and we started this initiative back in 2005, 2006. And the idea has been to always reach out into the Hispanic consumer. There's a lot of need in terms of education on eye health and eye disease. So that's kind of the initiative that we've undertaken through our Cultural Connections initiative at Transitions. So.
Good morning. My name is Monique Frausto. I am a full-time blogger. My blog is curvesandchaos.com, which is a lifestyle blog, and I'm also the founder of blogsbylatinas.com, which is a directory of Latina bloggers. And I've been blogging since 2008.
Hi, I'm Vanessa Diaz, and I'm a freelance writer and blogger. My site is called The Queen of Swag, and it's actually, I know the name sounds like swag, but it's actually entertainment and lifestyle blog, and I've been blogging for about 6 years. And I also write for 6 other publications, including like CBS LA and another site called The Nerd Machine.
Great. So you guys kind of have a bit of different objectives and different readers, but what's kind of the game plan in terms of lifestyle for this next year? Like, how do you plan on changing up what you've been doing and kind of continuing your success?
For me personally, I've decided to go in more of a personal route, as in where instead of kind of sharing news, it's more of sharing my experience with different brands or products, things that go on in my life, things that I think other women could relate with. So that's something that I'm doing differently, that I've done differently the last few months.
Great.
For me, I'm really focusing on my content and making sure that I'm providing a lot of original content on my site. I try to make it a ratio of, my personal and original content, like crafts, recipes, things that are my interests that I notice that my readers have the same interests. And another thing that I'm doing this year is I'm rebranding my site, which is another thing you can do if you figure out, maybe your title for your site isn't really working and it doesn't really match, what your actual content is. You can rebrand your site. So you heard it first. The Queen of Swag is stepping down from her throne.
Exclusive.
And she's going to be known as the Daily Misses. So, the Daily Misses. So it'll be a daily source for creative living. Yeah.
Great. And Manuel, how are you going to kind of connect with more bloggers this year or kind of get the dissemination of information in terms of health out there?
Well, that's been a very interesting kind of path that we followed, because at Transitions and with the help of our agencies, we've developed and we've created a lot of content around the need for education amongst the Hispanic consumer, particularly in terms of eye care, eye health, and diseases that have an impact on eye health and eye care. So what we've done in the past, we've worked with groups like Latina Mom Bloggers, which has been a tremendously good partnership with us. And then through that partnership, it's now expanded into Familias con Diabetes. So with that, we're reaching a very targeted audience that during the conversations that we've had, the need for content in language, in Spanish, to bring the resources to the readers and to the people that are afflicted with disease. It's just it's a tremendous opportunity for the partnership, and also to disseminate that information, which is it really is vital. I mean, when you think about the fact that 2 out of 3 Hispanics do not believe that they're at higher risk for eye disease or overall health issues, and when you looked at the statistics from the CDC, and you realize that that's a reality. It is it's a fact, and we're just kind of in denial, I guess. And so having access to a network that can then disseminate that information is critical for us.
Great. And in terms of kind of your partnerships already, both on the blogger aspect and on the brand aspect, what's kind of been your biggest hurdle in terms of connecting with partners and kind of getting at different information?
My biggest hurdle was, starting off was having to convince people I'm actually Latina, because they see my picture and they're like, blue eyes, light hair. They're like, you're not Latina. I'm like, haven't you watched Luz Carrerita? Like everybody on Telemundo has blue eyes and blonde hair. So that was one big hurdle. And essentially another big hurdle for me was, having them see past the website name and actually look at the content to see what the site is actually about, because they just see the title and they automatically think it's like a coupon blog or something like that. So those have been like my biggest challenges.
Great.
I kind of have to go on a little bit of what she said. I don't speak fluent Spanish, so a lot of brands that are reaching out to Latinas, I've kind of had a hard time. I've noticed a lot of them won't work with me because I don't speak Spanish, but I'm very proud of my roots and where I come from. So that's kind of been something that I've dealt with. I've noticed certain brands won't work with me because I guess I've been told they don't want it to be stereotypical, but yet they're not working with me because I don't fit the stereotype in a way, which I don't understand. But it's that's been something I've dealt with recently. So
They don't understand the Nueva Latina.
I've actually, I feel like as in Latinas, you can't put us in a box. We are especially in the beauty department, this is something that I've dealt with. We are every shade. We have every skin type. We have every hair type. We're not you just can't fit us all in one space. And I think sometimes brands, especially with the beauty brands, they kind of forget that we are all so different. And I think than any others. I don't know. That's something that I've noticed lately.
And what's kind of the way that you kind of handle that or approach that if they come at you with those types of requests that?
Well, it's not really they don't come and tell me okay, we want you to be more Latina, but I literally just won't get approached like other Latina bloggers do. But I mean, that's okay. I kind of look at it in a way that's their loss. I will just put that energy that I would have used for that campaign into something that I feel is important to talk about on my own, and I'll just use that energy for myself and use that in a post that I think is beneficial and kind of almost the same way. But I move on. I mean, I'm literally at a point now where I don't take offense to things anymore. I know it's business, and I just move on to the next thing. I said, okay, that's fine. Let's move on. They didn't want to work with me. It's okay. I don't just brush it off and go to the next thing.
Exactly. When you've been doing it for so long, it's at the point that okay, I can show you what my content is. I can show you stuff that I've done in the past that showcases that I'm Latina, and I eat arroz con gandules and everything else. So it's just if they can't see past that even by seeing my content, then it's just it's fine. It's not a good match.
It's not the end of the world.
To kind of go off of that, what's then a successful campaign that you have partnered with someone for, or a brand for, or just something that really spoke to your brand and your blog that you think was really successful?
For me, I do a lot of work with Latina Bloggers Connect, and they've been really great in finding campaigns and brands that like working with like Mary Kay or Neutrogena, they have always been really great with. They know that I'm a Latina, like they understand, you know, and they don't care that I don't speak Spanish. So those are like it's always a lot about incorporating our everyday, like our beauty, everyday kind of stuff with their brand, and it always just fits.
Mhm.
So those are two companies that I really like working with.
Great.
My biggest ones are Somos Fios. I like one of three, I think, that are the ambassadors for Somos Fios, because I've had Verizon for like 15 years, so I only try to partner with brands that I actually use every day and, you know, have grown up with, have used, you know, used in my daily life, and, you know, I actually know. Like, I'm not gonna represent a brand that, you know, I'm not familiar with and I don't use in my daily life. It's like I can't really speak about it if I don't know what it is, kind of a thing. So, Toyota Latino, those kinds of brands are amazing in the work that they do with Latinos.
Great. And what would you say to like maybe bloggers who haven't done these kind of partnerships or marketers who haven't really reached out and kind of taken that next step? What would kind of be your number one takeaway for those individuals? Would you say that it's important to understand like A, the market, but B, that not everyone speaks Spanish or not everyone is going to fit these boxes
Yeah, I
that
think
they're targeting?
Yeah, I mean,
I would say like figure out your niche, you know, like figure out what it is like you want to talk about, you know, like if you want to be recipes, if you want to share like, you know, all your family recipes on your site or something like that, really find your niche and hone on to that because people will take notice and you'll become an expert in that topic basically.
yeah.
Great.
So if you're starting out.
And then, like,
Yeah.
if I could just add into the conversation, from a brand perspective, one of the things that we've, or at least the work that we've done and has done very well, is to try and find a blogger that relates to the topic, because I think that lends a lot of credibility to us as a brand, but I think it also resonates with the readership. So having that connection, as you said, Vanessa, having that connection with, you know
Exactly.
the brand, you've used it, you feel comfortable because you understand that. It's been the same, it's been the same for us. We've been able to partner with different bloggers that their topics or their writing goes to address education with some of the resources that we have available, through eye disease, through health and wellness. Those are the topics that better resonate with us, and that way, you have the synergy of the readership and that credibility. I think more importantly is that you're really endorsing something that you believe in, and that is very powerful. I mean, I think that through writing, through all the different efforts, that comes across.
I think
people
Transitions
pick
does
it
an
up.
amazing job with that because I've worked with Transitions and they actually, research. That's the only thing I would say if I was going to say to marketers, actually visit the blog, see, what the content, learn who you're contacting, so that you're not reaching out to somebody and it's obviously something that would never have gone on the site, and like you don't really want somebody representing the brand who like last week was saying I hate transition lenses, but then you see them and then you see them the following week like, oh, I love transition lenses because they're getting paid now, so it's just like I think the brands and the marketers have to really look at the sites that they're approaching and not just look at the numbers and actually look at who's going to be representing the brand.
Yeah, I on my blog, I do a lot of plus size fashion. Well, I'm a plus size woman, so I only showcase plus size fashion, and I get approached a lot by clothing companies, and I always have to ask, do you offer plus sizes? I shouldn't even have to ask that. Like, they should know that it says plus size fashion in my description, but they still reach out. Like, I guess they don't do that research.
Exactly.
So just make sure you know who you're reaching out to, know what their blog's about.
Right.
That's, I think, the number one thing too.
And kind of on the flip side, how do you as a blogger make sure that these partnerships are kind of authentic? Do you ever feel like sometimes you get something and you want to do it, but you have never used the product or used the brand and you want to give it a shot? Like, how does that kind of work?
Yeah. No, definitely. I won't write about something unless I've tried it or I've used it. I write like if I'm speaking to you, like that's just that's how I am. And there are a lot of times where there are products or things that I've never used before, and I'll try them. And if I don't like it, because I never really guarantee, unless it's like a sponsored content, but I don't guarantee reviews. I only will write about it if I really, really, really like it or something I think that people should know about. If I don't like it, if it's like, it's okay, I won't write about it. But if the brand keeps bugging me, I'll just tell them, okay, well, this is how I felt about the product. Do you still want me to write about it? And if they want, they're like, okay. Because a lot of times they like, what is it? They'll take anything, like even if it's not the best review or something, they'll take that out there. But unless it's like extremely horrible and I think that it should not be in the hands of people, then I'll write about it. But if it's like, it's okay, it's nothing to, holler about, I won't even write about it. But I don't know, how do you?
I mean, like I have full disclosure, if it's something that I'm kind of interested in, but I just never tried it, I'd be like, listen, you can send it to me and I'll try it, and I'll try it for the first time. This is the first time I'm using it. But if I end up not liking it, do you want me to send it back, or do you want me to write about, my honest opinion of it, because that's all I give, and if they don't like that approach, then, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, you just have to be honest.
Yeah.
That's, I think, number one thing, if you're ever doing, like, as a lifestyle blogger, you do reviews, I mean, you just have to be honest, be yourself, no matter what the product is, no matter what it, I mean, I think people could spot fake from a mile away. It's just, as a blogger, just be yourself. It's a lifestyle. What's your life like? That's the whole thing behind a lifestyle blogger. Just be honest with it. I mean,
Great. And in terms of kind of coming up on this year, 2014, what are the biggest trends that you're seeing out there that you definitely want to tackle for this year?
Well, not so much that I want to tackle about, because I already tackle it, but I'm seeing the biggest trend that I'm seeing is everybody's calling themselves a lifestyle blogger at the moment. And I really think bloggers need to know what lifestyle is, and if you're going to call yourself a lifestyle blogger, you can't, be a coupon site, who just writes about movies every so often. You're like, oh, I'm a lifestyle blogger. You have to really focus your content to actually showcase that you're a lifestyle blogger, and that's what I'm focusing on.
And how would you define lifestyle?
Somebody who basically puts out their own original content relating to, their actual daily life, like if they have interesting crafts, recipes, household, beauty, home decor, that sort of thing.
Great.
I've noticed a lot of video. I think that's one of the big pushes. I think a lot of brands want video, and that, I know we've been saying that kind of for a while, but I think now more than ever, they really want, because I can write something, but I think people relate more to seeing someone on film and their reactions to things and their emotions and their faces and stuff like that. So right now, I'm hoping, because I don't consider myself a in front of the camera kind of person, so I don't do a lot of video, but I'm trying. It's hard, I don't have an assistant or anyone to help me, so I have to do everything on my own. So that's harder too, because then you spend hours editing, and that's really hard.
It's like we're our own photographers, we're our own food stylists, we're our own recipe creators. We do everything all ourselves,
And in terms of that, what's been like kind of the hardest thing that you've had to learn through this process? Either styling or, writing or what have you.
My biggest one has been photography, like just making sure my photos look like they can end up in a magazine kind of a thing. So
I think realizing that I have to invest in myself and I'm my own business, so buying the camera equipment, paying for the programs, paying to come to conferences. I think that took a while for me to realize is I have to invest in myself if I want to consider myself like a business and to take myself further. I think that's something that it took me a while to learn. Oh yeah, and earlier, like I said, just not to get my feelings hurt. I think that took a while because you kind of see like other bloggers doing things and you're just like, oh, I want to do that too. And you're just like, okay, well, maybe they don't like me. That's why they didn't choose me. Or, and so it literally is seeing it as a business that took a while for me.
Great. And kind of moving forward as well, in 2014, you talked about the new trends and what you want to try out. Is there something that you've tried out in the past that you're like, never again, I'm not doing that? That did not.
I tried to be super honest one time and talk about politics and religion and stuff, and that was like a nightmare. It was just like, people came out of the woodworks from everywhere with the negative comments and things like that. I was like, okay, we'll just stick to talking about crafts and everything else.
For me, I think it was Vine. Using Vine, it's not my thing. It wasn't like horrible, but I think I tried it. I have like one Vine video, and it's not even me. It's like it's like words on a screen. It's like I think the stuff. Yeah, that's the one thing I just am like, okay, that's not me. I'm not even gonna go there.
Great. And kind of talking about more like health and wellness, what is the thing that you're going to be doing this year that you haven't done in those arenas? And Manuel, if you can talk to kind of how you are approaching it this year with new bloggers or new partnerships, that'd be great.
One of the things that we've identified as a brand, and particularly with our Cultural Connections initiative, we found that there's 4 basic pillars, what we call, right? So everybody loves food. Everybody can relate to music. Sports is also a topic. So we have food and music. Music is the travel. Sorry, travel. Yes. And so anybody can kind of wrap around these pillars. And then, of course, there's an element of lifestyle and health in that, particularly with food, for example. And when we look at the aspect from the diabetes standpoint and how Hispanics are more prone to diabetes, it's having that message that, because we love our food and we have fabulous food, not the healthiest all the time, but and that's I think where it goes is to try and find that balance, to say, hey, you can still enjoy good food, you can still do the things that you love, but you're still being responsible and you're still maintaining that balance, that wellness, that health overall. So that's kind of where we're going with this, and also trying to expand our partnerships. One of the interesting things that we found working with different organizations is when we partnered with the NCNW, the an African American organization, and we started disseminating that content and providing them with information on their health risks and how they can take steps to better educate and get an annual exam and just be more proactive about their eye health. We saw that 2 out of 3 drastically reduced because of the education that we were doing. So now we're trying to do that more in the Hispanic area, because we saw that it worked. We saw the results, so that's kind of where the direction that we're heading now. So.
For my blog, I don't normally do a lot of health content. I do a lot of body confidence topics. I believe that no matter what size you are, you should be proud of your body and just be happy with yourself. And I know that's, for a lot of women, that's a struggle. But I would like to get more into health personally, and I know that I want to start, a better diet and things like that. That's something I've been dealing with personally. So I know that's something that I'm going to be able to put on my blog. I want to be able to write about my journey and my health without being too pushy, without imposing that on, making it seem like that's something that everybody should do. You know what I mean? It's like so that's kind of been the thing I've been thinking about lately for my personal health angle. So I don't know. We'll see how that goes.
Me personally, I did some work with Weight Watchers because I actually joined Weight Watchers because I'm getting married in May, so I had to lose weight to fit into my wedding dress. So it started off like that, and then I had the idea of turning like the recipes that, you know, cooked in my family into healthier options. Like, you know, one recipe, instead of frying pastelillos, I bake them. So just showcasing that you could still have, you know, those family recipes just in a healthier way.
Great. And, you know, creating this content around these different, you know, lifestyles so broad, but what's kind of your message, or what's the kind of guiding force of your blog, and how do you see that expanding in 2014?
My blog in particular is just living a creative lifestyle, because being creative, you know, is just a way of expressing yourself. So if you like to express yourself, you know, through film, TV, you know, crafts, everything like that. So that's the broad range that I cover. And I'm really trying to focus that on and focus on my original content and putting out, you know, original printables and that sort of thing, and hopefully build that into a brand that I can, you know, partner with another brand, because there's so many brands that, like Target, that are actually partnering with bloggers and putting product lines out for bloggers, like a blog called Oh Joy. She has like a bazillion followers, and her line right now is in Target, and they partner with 3 different bloggers, and they're putting out their products. So brands take notice if you have, you know, a brand on your site, like if you actually honed your brand. So
I think for my blog, it really is just about being yourself, living the best life you can, just living for yourself and just being you. I think that's kind of the message, because I try to be open and honest, and I won't change for anyone. This is who I am, and I don't know, I just kind of want to pass that along to other women who read my blog. So that's kind of been the message that I push.
Great.
I'd like to just make one comment, and you know, with our cultural connections, we have a diversity advisory board, and basically that's comprised from a few number of experts, both on eye health and also cultural experts. But I think one of the things that I would just kind of throw out there, I won't even say suggest or recommend, but I would just throw it out there. Any corporation, any company has a board of directors, right? And they guide the mission, the strategy, the direction of the company. And I see this as being a corporation, what you all are doing. So I would suggest gathering 6 or 7 close friends, people that know you, that you know really know who you are, what you're doing, and that would be kind of a very powerful sounding board to make sure that, you know, that what you're doing, it really resonates with who you are, because I think at the end of the day, that becomes the identity of the corporation, the business that you're running. Mm-hmm. And I think it can create, you know, it can be that kind of sounding board to say, you know, this is a good direction, this is not really you, I don't think you should take it, or I don't think you should go down that path, because that's not you. And that, I think, would be a great way to kind of maintain that authenticity, that style, that uniqueness, that, you know, like you say, a lot of people, well, I want to be like this blog. Well, you can't be like that blog, because that's not who you are, or that's not what you do. So having that group of people that can ground you and can kind of give you, make sure that you're staying true to what you set out to do. Because I think that's a lot of times what happens.
I think as a brand, you guys can see, right, like right away, a blogger that's just being authentic. Like that's just something you notice right away.
I mean, yes, I guess you can see as you read through the blog. But I think you know, more importantly, it's not from. I mean, I guess there is some component to that, but I think the influence that you harness is with your readers. So if you have that following and if you have that credibility, that's going to carry to where a brand is going to say, hey, we want to work with this group because they have that influence and that kind of following that we want to have, that we want to reach out to.
But I think brands will notice, if they see a blog and everything is sponsored, sponsored, it's like you really don't have like an honest opinion because you're literally, just being paid for everything to say everything. So
Absolutely.
I think as a blogger, though, you can do sponsored content and still be yourself.
Yes.
It's kind of like you just...
you have to find a good balance
Yes.
between it. I mean, everybody has to still pay the bills, but like, try not to make it, that everything you do is sponsored.
Yeah.
Try to put your own
Mix
voice.
things up.
Yeah.
And in terms of balancing sponsored content and kind of regular content, what would be your guidelines in terms of either writing or just how you present that type of content?
Well, what I was told, has to be 30%. 30% of your site has to be is the amount, like the max amount that could be sponsored, and the rest has to be original.
We all love money.
Obviously.
Money's awesome. But there are a lot of times you should just say no if it's not something that pertains to your blog, if it's not something that pertains to your life. I'm not going to write about everything that comes my way. It's learning to say no and passing on projects and passing on things that aren't a fit for you, or aren't a fit for your blog. I get approached with things that, don't go with my blog, and, like this underwear line wanted me to work on a project, but they only go up to a size 16, and my audience is not just up to a size 16. My audience goes beyond that, and so yeah, the money is awesome, but I'm not going to work on something that won't reach my entire audience. So I think with sponsored content, it's just learning to say no, and even though like it sucks, you're going to miss out on that money, but it really is like how important is the message that you're trying to give to your readers? How important is your
Brand, like it's
yeah, how important is your
brand?
Exactly.
Yeah, you have to.
How important is
really
it to you?
decide if your blog's just going to be personal, that you're going to share pictures of your kids and this, that, and the other, or if you actually want to turn that blog into a brand. You have to think about, what is my brand going to say? What's the message of my brand, and am I sticking to that message?
And in terms of turning your blog into a brand, have you noticed that there's been any kind of evolution from your first few posts to like now? And what would you say to someone so that they don't have to kind of go through those hurdles that you maybe did, if you did?
I guess like I said before, like you have to really, I would say to try to pick your niche early on, try to figure out what you want to say early on, because then that gives you a strong focus and it makes you original, and by the time you get a couple of years into it, you'll have focused so much on just that one topic that, you'll become like an expert in it, and people will notice you as an expert. Like, I went to another conference and she's like, I wanted to do a recipe site, and she didn't know, she saw so many recipe blogs and food blogs and that sort of thing. She's like, but I haven't seen anybody who does beer. And so she's like, I'm just going to do recipes that, are about beer, and that's what she does. And she's like, my one pitch is I write about beer, like if anybody asks her what's your site about, it's direct, everybody gets it. And she has like a Food Network show now, her own recipe books, everything, because she's the only one that writes about beer. So like Crafty Chica over there, she does amazing crafts, so focus on your own, find what you realize you're good about, what you're good at, and what you're passionate about, and then just stick to that.
Yeah, I would say don't force. If you have to force it, if you have to force what you're writing about and it doesn't come naturally, then maybe you shouldn't be writing about that. If that's what you want to do, and as in turning yourself into a brand and turning yourself into doing something like that full time. We all grow as people. So what I was writing about 4 years ago, it's kind of the same, but I've gone, because in the beginning it was just fashion. And over the years, as I've gotten older and I've grown and I've kind of seen it, I feel like I've blossomed more. I feel like I'm more true to myself, and I'm more honest with myself in that I know what I like and what I don't like, and I know what people like, but I mean, I'm not here to please everyone else, but it's just kind of finding
Self-acceptance.
finding out what you love, and just writing about it and find your niche. And if you want to write about travel, write about travel. If you want to write about cars, I love cars. I do that. I'm actually thinking of starting a blog just about cars, because that's something that I know won't fit on Curves and Chaos. So, but if it's something you love, just do it. Just write about it and be true to yourself.
Perfect. And to kind of close out, what would kind of be your number one takeaway or either goal for yourself this year or goal for kind of partnerships and brands this year? What's kind of the next step for you?
I'm really, I still, even after all these years, I feel like I'm still learning. I really would like to get into more of freelance writing. I do blog on a couple sites, but I think getting back into, my degree was journalism. That's how I started. I would really love to get back into the journalist side of things, of writing. I think that's something that has been on my mind lately. So maybe even working on my education, getting my master's. So that's something that I would like to do.
Great.
Me personally, I'm trying to really focus on turning my site almost into an online magazine. If you go to Lucky Magazine, you'll see, interviews, you'll see reviews, you'll see everything. And that's just how a magazine is run. So if you're running your site, your blog just like that, then you're kind of transitioning into being an online magazine for people to visit daily and get, daily content. So that's kind of my goal for the year, is to try to, transition into being considered instead of just a blog, just an online magazine.
Great. And Noel?
And then from our perspective, it's just continuing to do what we've been very successful at doing for the past 3 years. I mean, the blogger outreach that we've made, the relations and the connections that we've been able to establish have been very valuable to us. And I always have truly believed in partnerships need to be a win-win. So we feel like that the partnerships that we've established with these groups have been phenomenal, have been very good results for us, and I hope that that the people that we've partnered with have also been successful in this partnership. So we hope to continue and even grow it further to where it's been so far. So.
Awesome. At this time, I'd like to open it up for questions. If you guys have questions for any of the panelists. Yeah.
Vanessa, right?
See.
Okay. How are you going about rebranding your site? Because I take it that you've been blogging for a long time.
6 years
It's
now.
6 years.
It's like a vieja.
It's
In blogging life, it's like a vieja. It's
already established blog. I'm in a similar situation with one of my blogs that because it was only in English, I'm transitioning into a bilingual and Spanish because I'm Latina and I've been blogging for years also. And but I already have followers that are Americans or born here that are non-Hispanic. So how are you rebranding that? Because that's my challenge right now. Should I change the name? If I change the name, then it's going to be...
Are you going to lose the readership? Are you going to lose the followers and that sort?
Exactly,
No,
because,
yeah.
I mean, and how do we do the following? Maybe not the followers that go directly to your blog and leave the comment, but the followers that you would have to have in your fan page, in your Twitter, I mean, in your Pinterest.
Yeah.
I mean, how are you minimizing that impact with the rebranding?
Well, on certain Facebook and on Pinterest is easy. You can actually change the name of your
Right,
current
yeah,
thing,
sure.
so you don't lose your page.
Right,
Basically, you can request on Facebook for them to change it to another name.
Okay.
Yeah, you can. You can only do it once though, so you have to pick a name and stick to it because you're not going to be able to change it again, or else they're going to make you start a new one. So a lot of the social media platforms will allow you to change that same, site, link that you have, with your username to a different name. So that's the easy part of it. But the other one, trying to change the site, it's scary. I'm not gonna lie. But I'm doing it in a gradual way. So you have to kind of prepare your readers, like, maybe write a post saying like, this is what I'm gonna do. It's like, write a post like, by this date, we're going in a different direction. I hope you guys stick with me. But, as of January 1st, the site's gonna be now known as the Daily Misses or whatever your site is, and kind of prepare them for it. I mean, you're not really changing your content, so you're sticking with the same, your same formula of what's working for you. You're just changing the name of it so that it actually matches your content better, and it opens you up to have a bigger readership that people can, find you better. So on my site, we're not going to probably do it until almost the end of the year. But throughout the year, kind of trickling in there, mentioning that, this is the direction that it's going to be going in, and this is the site that it's going to be going in. And once you do make that transition, have like for a period of time, like have like a little thing that says like formerly whatever your site was, so that they know they're still at the right place, when they visit the site, because you'll kind of redirect back to the new link and the new domain name. So I would just say, just make it a gradual process and start thinking about, the name that you really want to have represent you for a good while amount of time. Yeah.
I don't want to box myself in just I do want my Hispanic followers, but I also want my American,
Yeah.
it's called
Yeah.
followers. So I don't want to, I'm thinking maybe like my fashion site is Moda Preview, it's both Moda and Preview. So that works. But with the other one is like how I want to find maybe a Spanglish
Yeah.
title, a brand,
Yeah.
so that it, I can speak to the U.S. market.
Yeah.
But note too that even though you're rebranding yourself and you're going maybe in a different direction, those true readers, the ones that love your content, they're gonna follow you wherever you go.
Yeah.
So I think there's no, I think there should be no fear of changing. I mean, I did a new, like 2 years ago, I did a different blog design, and I lost like a third of my followers. And it was scary at first, and I was like, and they literally just didn't like the design of the blog, and it they went away. And it's taken a lot of work to get back, but I mean, in the end, I just do what I love, and but those readers they're gonna follow you no matter what.
When you say you lost, well, do you mean like subscribers or just your
Views.
traffic?
The traffic, yeah.
Okay.
The traffic will die, but they'll come back.
I have a question. I'm like new with the whole blogging world. I work in broadcasting. So basically I started a blog because I figured, you know what, I've been told you're a brand, so you have to kind of roll with it. So I started up a new blog, I want to say a few months ago, and I've actually been generating pretty good traffic, so I'm happy with that. But in terms of social media, like Facebook and things like that, I have my personal Facebook site, for example. But I don't know, my question is basically, do you guys have a separate page for your blog? Like my blog is my name.
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't know if I should just make my current Facebook page a hybrid, or if I should create a page directly for the blog. I'm not sure how I should go about doing that.
Yeah, for me personally, I think you have to have a Facebook page for your blog. Like, basically, like every site, if you go to MarthaStewart.com, they have their own Facebook page, and then Martha Stewart has her own Twitter handle, kind of a thing. So you have to have one for yourself.
But like, I guess my whole thing is that I don't want to create a Facebook page for it and then not give it the time and like give the love that it needs.
Yeah, but you should, if you're a brand, you should get
Yeah.
every social media thing in your name. Just get it anyways.
Well,
Yeah.
I have it
Yeah.
under my name, but the Facebook, I have it like my personal, so I don't know
Yeah.
if I should
Yeah.
make a hybrid, like a personal / professional, I don't know. That's why I'm like.
It's a fan page.
It's a fan page.
It's called a fan
different,
page, yeah.
So I would do a fan page.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Mhm.
Hey guys, so I'm Liza, XOXO Liza
Well, for me personally, I'm my own manager, I'm my own agent, I'm my own whatever. So nobody, tells me, how much I can be paid or, that sort of thing. Like I work a lot with Latina Mom bloggers as well, and Latina Bloggers Connect. But those working with those kind of networks, you can sign up for whatever you're interested in working on. Like you don't have to work on everything. Like they come to you every so often and ask if you want to work on something, outside of, the campaigns that they send out for everybody in the network to work on. And you can tell them, if you want to work on it or not. So they give you kind of a choice of what you sign up for. So for me, yeah, I try to keep my business as personal to me because it's my own.
So you don't sign into any exclusivities? Because then there's like Sway Group who represent you.
Yeah.
Which is like, yes, no.
Yeah,
There's that one.
I don't get that.
But it's not like I'm a part of the Sway group, and they will email me and they'll say, okay, well, this brand wants to work with you. Or I actually really like it because there's a lot of the legal side and a lot of the things that I don't like to deal with, and they know everything. They're like pros, so I like that, and I will give them that commission or percentage, whatever, because I don't even want to deal with that. So I actually am a big fan of that, and I work with LBC all the time, and I love that too because Anna is like a professional and she knows the ins and outs. So I'm all for working with brands and agencies and doing that. If I can have them negotiate on my behalf and do all those things, I am more than happy because that saves me more time and more headaches because there's a lot of legal stuff. Like I signed on to work with a brand and I actually didn't like a dummy. Like make sure you guys read every line in a contract, please.
Read your contract.
Yeah, and please. And I, like a dummy, this was a long time ago, I signed it, and it was like exclusive. I couldn't work with any beverage companies for like 6 months. And I was like, yeah, so it was like, and that is a mistake I learned on my own, and you're gonna learn along the way. So I'm all for working with agencies and the LBC and Latina Mom, any of those that will just take care of all of that for me.
And from the flip side, I'm curious from the brand perspective, like dealing with an agency versus dealing with an individual blogger, the exclusivity issue.
Yeah, well, we have an agency that helps us out, but in our experience, like working through Latina Mom bloggers, that because again they know all the different bloggers in that network, so they can really point you in the right direction to say, based on what you're trying to accomplish, here are some suggestions of the people that you might want to that we can bring into the conversation for this campaign that you're trying to work on. So I guess I can see both sides. From the expertise side, from the expertise on our side, getting the appropriate connections to write a piece or to run a campaign. But then I can also see how that would be an interesting thing to have that expertise, helping from the blogger side point of view, with the legal and all the different ramifications.
Like one thing that I worship at the ground of Oprah, and one thing that Oprah said, that to this day she still signs her own checks. She sees everything. Everything goes through Oprah. So to me, I took that, for my own business and try to assimilate that, and how can I do that for myself. And the way I do it is by negotiating my contracts, doing that sort of thing, so that I can know what I'm basically representing my brand. And another thing to go along with the exclusivity thing, I only sign up to be exclusive only for brands that I know I actually use. Yeah. Don't sign up, I don't drink soda, so I would never sign up for to be exclusive with Coca-Cola. I have an exclusive contract with Toyota right now, but I drive a Toyota, so it's okay, so you won't see me driving anything else, so it's not a big deal. You have to make sure, if you're signing an exclusive contract, that it's actually something, you actually use in your daily life.
Leora.
Hi, Leora from eversopopular.com. I guess a follow-up to Vida's question on kind of figuring out how to take your blog to the next level and working on getting some of those deals, both the marketing perspective and the blogger's perspective on how do you either how do you kind of, before we're getting to the, multi-million-dollar contracts, how do you kind of build that relationship? Is it your work in terms of getting like building those relationships, or do you kind of wait for brands to, get to you? Like, what are the metrics they want to see? Like, what are some of the nitty-gritty things that kind of are taking you to the next level?
Me personally, like when I started, it was like, if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna have to do this, and you have to hit the ground running. You have to go to Hispanicize. You have to go where, if you find out, you want to work with Target, and you see Target's a sponsor at Hispanicize, you have to go there and try to meet that brand. You have to try to put yourself in front of them, as much as you can, and make connections that way. And a good way to do that is going to conferences. And I actually, when I started, you can find the information of the PR contacts on like every website. You contact them, whoever you want to work with, and reach out and say, like, this is my site, this is what it's about. Try to put together like a little media kit, even if it's like, just simple, just showing that you have some sort of professional skills to represent them and represent yourself and your site, and just reach out. I mean, it doesn't hurt to, contact whoever you want to work with to try to get yourself through the door. And then also look for networks, like Latina Bloggers Connect, that, have it all inclusive, that aren't just, focused on one kind of, blogging style, that you can get in there and get more opportunities.
Yeah, I would say don't be afraid to reach out. If you love a certain whatever, reach out, introduce yourself. Something as simple as their Facebook page, because most of the time it's going to be a PR company or something that's running that. So just like reach out, introduce yourself, or ask them, who can I talk to about your, who does your outreach for bloggers. Just never be afraid. Don't be shy. Just reach out, because if you don't contact them, you're missing out on something. Like Vanessa was saying, go to the conferences. Walk right up, just introduce yourself, give them your card. Even if something as simple as just reaching out on Twitter.
Have a good business card too.
Yes.
Like, don't have a business card that you printed out at home, kind of a thing. Unless, like, you're crafty and it make it really look nice. But yeah, so I mean,
Yeah,
the same
just
thing about
introduce
that.
yourself. Reach
Just
out.
introduce yourself. And even on the Twitter handles and the Facebook page for any brand, if you tweet them saying like, who can I reach out to about possibly featuring, whoever on my site, will redirect you to whoever.
And then from our side, I think one of the things is having kind of showing to a brand what you can do for that brand. So what you bring to the table, and that expertise of saying, hey, I can give you access to a network of influence, readership, whatever that is, and I'll take advantage and plug George Torres here, because yesterday, and truly, I was very impressed with this, because we're running some campaigns, and then it's the hashtag perfect pair, and from his phone he pulls up a report that says how many people are clicking or using that hashtag, and where that traffic is coming from, where it's going, how many clicks, how many influencers, how many people you're reaching. And to us as a brand, I mean, my boss and my boss's boss, they're always looking at how many people are we reaching, how many impressions are we making, how many, how are we moving the needle. So showing those kinds of statistics, that's, I mean.
And you
I don't
could put
wanna
that
say-
in your media kit, just FYI.
So
Mhm.
to follow
And-
up on that, what is it as a brand that you're looking for in the media kit? Do you want, traffic? Do you want like uniques? Do you want Twitter followers, Facebook followers?
I think it's a combination of
All of it.
those. All of them.
They ask for everything.
Yes. So
Especially
anything that you can
nowadays.
think of, yes.
There's
And
so
I
many
think-
bloggers nowadays that you have to show them everything so that they kind of, they want to see if they're going to get their bang for their money, basically, kind of a thing.
So my thing is, it's one thing to reach out to the brand and you like them and you want to form a connection, but another thing is like, well, when you reach out to them and you're like, let's collaborate, and then they want to like pay you a product, and it's like, I can't pay my phone bill their product. You know,
Yeah.
and they don't understand that. So how do you, like, you're reaching out to them, but how do you leverage it to like, okay, now you're gonna pay me for this because I am a professional, and everything is so saturated. Like everybody's a blogger now. So how do you put yourself there? Like, no, you're gonna pay me for my services because I'm bringing something to the table. You know.
Yeah, it's a little tricky. It's kind of like I was talking to a young lady last night, and she said that she did a fashion review, and they gave her she's new. They gave her $30 worth of clothing, and she did a video, and now they came back to her and they said, we want to give you $30 of clothing again to do another video, and she's like, well, I don't want to do it for free. Like, I said, okay, well, tell them, this is what I charge. I charge a fee. I'm very busy now. And Kathy and I gave her advice, and we told her, just let them know you now have a taste of what my reviews are like, and this is the fee that I charge now. And unfortunately, some brands just won't pay. And you just have to realize that. And that's something in the plus size fashion industry. They do not pay. Very rarely will you find a plus size fashion company who will pay for anything. So it's literally like, okay, you just, like I said earlier, brush it off, move on, and reach out to another person or another thing. And then, not everything, like she was saying too, not everything's sponsored. You don't want to have that much sponsored content on your site anyway. So, just tell them, like, look, this is what I do, this is my fee, whatever. If they don't go for it, it's just move on to something else. Use that energy for something else.
I say, like, my philosophy is, like, if you want to, like, reach out to a brand, they're like, we don't have a budget right now, but that doesn't mean, like, they won't have a budget in the future.
Exactly.
So, one for them, one for you. One for them, one for you. That's kind of, like, the approach that I take about it. It's like, okay, I'm going to reach out to Target, and I want to, do this with them or whatever. And they say, all right, well, we'll give you, however much in product or whatever. And that kind of opens the door for them to see your work, kind of a thing. And if they see, gosh, you went above and beyond and did something amazing that, other people wouldn't have even thought to do, then they'll come back to you, hopefully. And if you reach out to them again and say, like, look, this is what I want to do. This is like the project or the pitch that I wanted to, work on my post about, and tell them, like, this is how much I would, I need to do the post and, for my work. They'll be more open to, somebody that they've worked with before than somebody that's just cold pitching them.
I've really enjoyed all of this conversation, and I find it interesting that most of the conversation has been around branding and products and specific brands. And I'm not a blogger. I work for a national health foundation, and I came a little late, so I'm sorry if I'm going to ask a question regarding health and lifestyle, because that's the kind of content that I'm interested in engaging bloggers on. And I'm fascinated by what are your thoughts when it comes to something like a foundation that wants to create a culture of health in America, engage Latino bloggers on this, and obviously we will pay you. It's not like we're going to give a product back.
Yeah.
Why would you be interested in blogging for it? What's the hook? And any thoughts on his trends around health?
If you're passionate about, like, there's so many bloggers who are passionate about gluten-free. Like, I have all kinds of bowel issues. We're not going to get into it. But, like, I would totally, like, if it's something that relates to me in my life, if it's a, health organization or any kind of organization that pertains to something that I can relate to, then I would totally work with them. It doesn't have to be, product exchange or anything like that. It's just, you want to share the message of your own personal experience of dealing with this situation that this actual organization, helps spread the message about.
Yeah, I think I do some stuff for, like, some certain health organizations where they don't pay, I don't ask because they're nonprofit, or, if it's something, a message that I think is positive and will is beneficial to my readers and to myself, I mean, it starts with me first, and beneficial to my readers, then I have no problem sharing that. But I share the message with a personal experience. So that's how I go along with, that's how I do things like that.
Yeah. I mean, because it's our personal blog, so we have to basically kind of put our own personal, touch on it, our own personal voice to it. We can't talk about, something that we're not really dealing with in, in our daily lives, kind of a thing. So,
In the pink? Yeah.
So I have a quick question. I would like to backtrack just a little bit. Let's say you just started blogging 8 months ago, and you know, you are here, you are putting yourself out there, you are going to events, you want to work with Target, you approach them, you give them a business card, and then they're like, well, where's your media kit, or, you know, give me your numbers. And again, you just started blogging, but you are being aggressive and pitching them an idea. I mean, how can you actually sell yourself when, you know, when you don't have the 10,000 followers on Twitter? Like, what is the best approach for them to actually take that leap of faith and actually work with you, you know, as a blogger?
I say you have to showcase what your site is about, because you might have a site that nobody else has. You know, if your site is about, you know, Latina hairstyles or something, you know, like who knows what your site is about. But if you're like the only person that has the specific focus and you're just starting it out because you notice that nobody else, you know, is tapping into this, you know, niche of, you know, information, nobody else is sharing it, be like, listen, this is my site, I'm starting it off, this is what it's about, there's not many people out there, it's just starting out, but there's a big following of, you know, people who are actually interested in this topic.
So I have a quick question, and sorry, this is just another one. You know, you are Latina, you mentioned, but you don't speak fluent Spanish, but so you don't write in Spanish
No.
on your website.
No.
But then you're selling yourself as a, obviously as a Hispanic, right? So brands.
No.
No?
Mm-mm.
So brands, when do you reach out to brands and be like, I am a Latina, and this is my blog? How do you actually sell
Well, it is
yourself?
on my about page, but
Okay.
it's kind of tricky. I think a lot of the jobs that I get, or any campaigns or anything, is through like Latina Bloggers Connect. So that's how they reach me with the Latina side. It might sound really simple, but I brand myself as just me. Like I really, like, this is what you get. What you see is what you get. I don't know if that makes sense. It's kind of hard. Like I feel like
I think it depends on like your site. Like if,
Yeah.
you know, your site is bilingual, or it's like, you know, like Ana has Spanglish baby, she's focused on bilingual, you know, like you're actually gearing towards, and you have to sell that, you know, your culture, you're Latina, this, that, and the other. If you're a lifestyle site, then you're selling that you're a lifestyle site, you know, or whatever your topic's gonna be, you have to sell what that is. I mean, like, you know, like, it's illegal to ask somebody's race when they go in for a job interview, kind of a thing, you know? Like, nobody asks you, like, are you Latina? Or, like, you know, like, nobody asks you what your nationality is when you go in for a job interview. So you don't really have to focus on that unless you want to. Like, if you want to focus that I'm the only Latina blogger that, you know, makes s'mores, you know? So, like, exactly, you know, like. Mm-hmm.
And we'll take one more question, yeah, from the back.
Quick question, how are you guys using video to enhance your blog, you know, so as an additional revenue stream? And then the second is, do you guys have any additional revenue streams other than waiting for an advertiser to sponsor your blog?
Sponsored content, I have an ad network. You can also put ads on your videos, and I use videos primarily when I'm on at events or red carpets, or if I'm like doing a tutorial for like how to host a party, that sort of thing. That's how I mainly use my videos.
I don't do a lot of videos. That's something that I want to get into, but yeah, I do. I'm a part of a lot of ad networks. I'm part of Glam Media. You know, I do campaigns with a bunch of different, like LBC and stuff. And I used to get a lot of advertising on the sidebar, but I don't concentrate on that because I just do like Google AdSense. I do, you know, the sponsored campaigns. I think that's where the majority of that comes from.
I mean, people do contact you, you know, reaching out for ad space and that sort of thing. But I try not to put a lot of ads on my site because I find a lot of people feel like, oh, look, she's just trying to sell every piece of her site and just be like a billboard or something. Like, and it clutters up the site and it just makes your site look bad to me. I don't know. That's just my opinion, but.
Great. Well, thank you all for coming, and thank you again to the panelists.